I've been working on this story time for the longest. I recorded it initially when I was going through it, and I may insert a clip here or there. It took me some months to do this story time. It's just because this is involving a child, and I wanted to make sure that when I came up with story time, that I wasn't speaking out of anger, or I wasn't saying anything, disrespectful or anything like that. I love what I do, even when I have some frustrating individuals in my chair, and I would never want anyone, even if I have to sever the business relationship, I would never want anyone to feel like offended or feel bad or whatever the case is. So this was September 29th was when it happened. So it's been a nice amount of time, and I can speak about it now without frustration. I can just speak about it as an experience that I had, behind the chair. So, unfortunately, this is what has caused me to completely just say no more kids. I can't. I've had struggles with children over the years. I've always tried to tweak my rules so that I could take kids, because not every parent deserves to be punished. But I also think that just in my age and being a mother, I just don't have the patience for certain things, especially when it's things that my own children would not or are not allowed to do, if that makes sense. You see me looking over here like this, that's what that is. That is my notes. All right, let's get into it. So, this little girl, we're gonna call her Brianna. Brianna has been to me, she had been to me once before. And when she had come to me the first time, we had no issues. She came, she got washed, she smiled the whole time, we kicked it, she had snacks, we watched movies. I think the only thing that bothered her was that this was during the summer. And so my kids were outside at the pool, and she was not able to go because she had to get her hair done. And I told her that, when on a day that you're not doing anything, your mom's welcome to bring you back, which I kind of tell everybody anyway. So, so she came to this particular time. She came to get box braids. And let me state that she's not tender-headed or anything like that. One of my biggest things for me with dealing with children is I can deal with the criers, but I can't deal with the kids that kind of run out the chair, the screamers, or just the uber tender-headed. I am a client, a hairstylist, and I do this with my own children, where I'm going to do what your kid is comfortable with. If you book a 4-hour service and you know that your baby's not going to sit there for 4 hours, we're not going to struggle and cry and scream for 4 hours. Most of my parents, for the kids that I do still have, most of my parents are very understanding with that. Every now and then they'll tell me what they want, but for the most part they kind of let me freestyle. Also, if I know a child is more sensitive on one side of their head, then I'll start on that side first so that they're not uncomfortable throughout the entire appointment. So, another thing too is, so her mother had originally rescheduled her appointment because she told me that she was sick. So the morning of her appointment, she was like, she has this cough. It's been like this for 2 weeks. I don't think it's contagious, but just to be safe, I'm going to reschedule. And I'm like, all right, cool. So we were scheduled for 2 weeks out, just to be sure that if she was still sick, by that time she should be fine. So when she came in, just like everybody else, I get her in here, I get her washed, I get her under the dryer so that she can get conditioned. 2 things while she was under the dryer. Number one, I noticed that she had a barking cough, but I didn't judge it because my middle son, when he gets sick, he will have a cough and it'll last him for a while. Even after he's completely cleared, doctors cleared him and everything. So, we also had RSV going around, and while RSV was going around, anybody that knows about that, even when the child is no longer contagious, they will still have a cough. So I noticed the cough, but I didn't really say anything about it. But then I noticed that her mother kept getting up and getting tissues. So I noticed her mom kept getting up and getting tissues, and she was wiping her nose. And I was just like, okay. So is she really not sick, or is she just sick and you're trying to hurry and get her hair done and get it over with? Either way, they were already there. I powered through. It was one of those situations where if it ever came up again in the future, I'd speak on it. But It was just me and them. It wasn't like my kids were here or anything. I could have disinfected, you know. And if it really got that bad, I would just have her put like a mask on the baby or something like that. Let's see. So after washing her, like I said, and she was under the dryer, sis did not want to sit under the dryer this time. So I have if you guys see my other videos, I have a baby pink chair. And she's sitting on the booster seat. No, was she sitting in the booster seat? No, she was tall enough to not have a booster seat. So she's sitting in the chair, and she is like, she has her feet in the chair. She is like trying to slide from under the jar. And I know it gets hot under there. Like, I'm not, you know, I don't put the kids under there as long as I put adults. But she's sliding under, like, out of the chair. She's throwing her feet up on the chair. And I just, you know, politely was like, baby, I need you to put your feet down. And then at one point, like, she was just like, I don't want to be under here. And then she starts, like, taking the cap off. And I was like, whatever, let's get her washed. I kind of knew that it was going to be an off day. I just felt it. But I really try my hardest not to take that out. Even if I know the client's going to be an asshole, I try not to take that out on them. So, let's see. Also, okay, so I start getting her braided. And as I'm starting to braid her, she is like fidgeting with the cape. She doesn't want the cape on. So I go and I explain to her, like, hey, you know, you have to keep the cape on, otherwise you're going to get hair all over, you're going to be irritated. And she was just like, I don't want this on me. Sorry, guys. And I was like, okay, well, you know, you have to. And so at another point, I guess she was sick of me. So she tells her mom, like, oh, mommy, I'm hungry. And I live like maybe like a block away from a 7-Eleven. So she tells her mom, like, oh, I'm hungry. And her mom is like, okay, well, baby, I'll get you something when we're done. Like, Tay moves pretty fast. You're not going to be here that long. And she was like, well, I want muffins. And her mom was like, okay, like, I'll get you some muffins, no problem. I want the hair lady's muffins. And she was like, no, can't have those. Those are for her kids. She was like, but I want the ones in her kitchen. I don't want the ones from 7-Eleven. And she was like, Brianna, like, chill. Get your hair done. And I'll get you something when we're done. So all of a sudden now, you know, sis didn't get the answer that she wanted. So now it's like, oh, I want pizza. I want mashed potatoes. I want, like, she just started naming off stuff to irritate her mom because she didn't get what she wanted. So at this point, I think I just wasn't feeling it that day. Like I said, I already knew. So I just popped my AirPod in and continued doing what I was doing. At some point, she, like, snaps the cape off. Like, I thought that she was reaching back. You know how braid hair gets itchy. So I'm thinking that she's reaching back to get the braid hair off of her neck. No, she unsnaps the cape. Takes the cape off. And I'm just like, what are you doing? She was like, I don't want this on me. And I was like, okay. Because I already told her the first time she said that, like, hey, you're going to get hair on you, but. So I'm braiding her hair. And, of course, as I'm pulling the hair, you guys know when you braid and the hair gets stuck and you got to pull the hair. Okay, so I'm pulling the hair. And I usually just drop it to the side, but it's going to fall on you anyway. Now it's stuck in your clothes because you don't want a cape on you. So she has an attitude about that. And she's like, oh, my God, like, she's getting this hair all over me. And she's taking the hair and she's trying to throw it as hard as she can, but it's hair, so it's not going anywhere. So she's trying to throw the hair all hard. And then her mom was just like, girl, like, sit down, get your hair done, pretty much. And so after that, she, like, sees me, like I said, I'll separate the hair and I just kind of drop the little, like, stray hairs on the ground. And I have an eye bag over here, so I usually just swoop it into the eye bag, but whatever. So she goes, mommy, she's getting this hair everywhere. And she was like, Brianna, shut up, like, be quiet. And she was like, no, like, she's making a mess. She needs to clean this up. And I just took a deep breath. And I just told myself, like, hey, this will almost be over. And so I just was braiding with my headphones in. And she has to go to the bathroom. This is where I was just beyond just annoyed. It sent me over. I didn't say anything, but it sent me over. A lot of people that know me know, like, there's a lot where I'll make the same face and just, if you know me, you know this is my irritated face, but I really try my hardest not to, like, flash on people. And, like, mom to mom, I could tell she was annoyed. I think that she was in a place of, like, I don't know what else to do but like whoop her if I need to, you know? So I try not to be judgmental when it comes to things like that, because my kids do things too where I'm sure there's some people that are like, you let your kids do that. So she goes to the bathroom. She's one of those children that go to the bathroom with the door open. So where I'm standing from my chair, I can't like see her on the toilet, but I could see if she was anywhere else in the bathroom, if that makes sense. Goes to the bathroom, and I hear her go to the bathroom. I hear her flush the toilet. I hear her wash her hands, and then all of a sudden, I'm hearing drawers and cabinets opening and closing. So I go, Brianna, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I was looking for the trash can. The trash can's literally on the side of the toilet. And I said, the trash can's on the side of the toilet you was just sitting on. What are you doing? And her mom was like, Brianna, come out the bathroom. So we go through all of that. I get her done. She start making random noises. Like I said, you know, when kids don't want their hair done, they're gonna, or anything, not even just want their hair done. When kids are not getting what they want, they're gonna find a way to annoy you. That's just what kids do. So I finished her hair. Her mom was just like talking to me about some other shit and was like, oh, I'm gonna send you your tip, whatever. And I was just like, oh, okay, thank you. And so she's like, come on, Brianna, like, let's go get something, like, we're gonna get you something to eat now, whatever. And she was like, ooh, I can go get me a muffin now. Do you know that this child walked her ass in my kitchen? And I was like, no, you're not. And she was like, yeah, I'm gonna get me a muffin now. And was laughing and skinning and grinning while she was doing it. Really tried to walk in my kitchen, and that was the first time that I spoke up and was like, no, ma'am, no, you're not. And I don't know if it bothered her mom or offended her mom, but her mom was just like, come on, let's go. And then they left. And I never heard anything from them. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I have them both banned. Her number is not blocked. She could reach out if she wanted to. But they're both banned from booking. That's not a situation that I want to deal with. Once did I ever get like on my bad? Like, I didn't know she was going to act like that. Nothing. I just never heard from them again. And she was a referral from my braider who passed away not too long ago. So I'm talking about, we haven't heard from each other. I mean, I haven't heard from her even since then. So, you know, there's no hard feelings. I don't feel any kind of way. I don't hate her. I don't feel like she's a bad mom. I don't think her kid is bad or anything like that. It's just that in that moment, I realized, like, this is not for me anymore. Like, I take my clients' children just because it's already a level of trust there. And I go out on a limb with, I trust if my clients say, oh yeah, she'll sit for you, because they've gone to me, they've heard my complaints or what have you. They kind of know how I am. Some of them that ask why I don't take children, I will tell them why I don't take children. So there's no secret about any of that, you know? So, but it's just that if you put me in one of those situations, like, I'm not going to put myself in that situation again, at least not with your kid. So that was that. That was the reason. There's other stories on here that I've told about children. But in all honesty, like, I've always said, kids are hard to deal with, but it really is the parents. Like, if her mother wasn't sitting right there, I really don't believe that she would have acted that way. A lot of my kids, they act completely different when their moms are not around. I used to have a rule against that, but I understand, like, if you're coming, some people are driving from like 2 hours away. I'm not going to make you sit in your car for 4 hours, you know? So that was my story time, y'all. That is why I don't take kids. Blame Brianna.